A woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn. You lost your edge, she lost attraction for you. That's how it works. What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated? Men cannot afford to get complacent in relationships. Get your fat ass off the couch, start lifting weights, and learn game. You're welcome.
And now your man,
Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 982nd edition of TSR Live, your daily dose of toxic masculinity, misogyny, and small dick energy. It is Thursday, June 29th of 2023. It is good to have you guys in today. As always, we are streaming live simultaneously to YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, MGTOW TV, MGTOW.tv, and in crystal clear high resolution 4K to Sharpe stream. So however you're watching, wherever you're watching from, thank you for making the Sharpe Reality Live a part of your daily routine. Make sure you guys follow me on my new Twitter at DonovanHTR, as well as Instagram at DonovanSharpeTSR. Also, follow me on Facebook, just search Donovan Sharpe. Follow us also on TikTok as well at Donovan and Devin. Shout out to my sharpshooters in the chat. Dre Raven, Cigar Man 85. Looks like we got Arturo in the house. Technomage B5. Very good. Good to see you in here. Kevin Takeda says, this woman is a sad sight to see. You have no idea, my friend. You have no idea. Desmond Montgomery says, Adam 22 on some BS. Yeah, I kind of heard through the grapevine that he married a spicy movie star, and when he married her, I think she was doing only girl-girl scenes. But, you know, I've heard through the grapevine that Adam allows her now to do girl-on-guy scenes, essentially making himself a you-know-what. A you-know-what. It should come as no surprise that he recently had Destiny on his show. I guess allowing other men to smash their wives is something they can identify with on a personal level. Square Table Degenerates, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Jane Coe says DS needs to stop calling women bitches or using rap music with that word. No, I'm not going to stop that. And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to stop me. Wild 900 says, hey man, take some notes on how to train your female humans. Jordan Royal is in the house. Good to see you in here, my friend. Yeah, I wrote an ebook. You don't have to take notes. I wrote an ebook. Called How to Train Your Woman. You can get that on tsracademy.com. So no need to take notes. I wrote a whole book about it. Jory Raven says, worse than that, Don. She did a... Oh, my God. She did a gangbang? Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Oof. Look, man, letting her get pounded out by other dudes is one thing. But letting her get pounded out by other dudes at the same time, quite another. Chip Osorio says, hey man, how's your health? Hopefully continuing to improve. Absolutely. My health is getting much better. I'm in much better cardiovascular condition than I've been since I started spinning last time. I did a spin class this morning. And so I think I'm doing anywhere between, 5 to 6 spin classes weekly. And I am also dominating the class. And I've only been doing it now for a couple of weeks. And so, come on. There we go. And so, real quick, the place that I do my spin classes, they have a board at the front and the back of the class. It's got everybody's up-to-the-time, real-time stats. What your current watts are, what your average watts are, how fast your RPMs, average RPMs, calories burned, miles ridden, and so on and so forth. Well, until today, until today, I had been outperforming the instructors. I'd been outperforming the instructors. And the spin class that I partook in on Tuesday, the instructor thanked me for pushing her because I dominated her numbers. Like I'm outperforming. For the last, up until today, I would say like maybe the last 5 or 6 spin classes, I have outperformed the instructor. And so I go in today. This is an instructor I haven't been to yet. She says, "What's your?" Everybody's introducing themselves. Introducing themselves, and what happens at that point is really the spin instructor is trying to, get everybody's name. And so she looks at me and she says, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, "I'm Alex." And she says, "Oh, you're the one." I immediately knew what she was talking about. So hopefully that keeps up. Black Lemur 2009 with the $500 super chat. Holy shit. Black Lemur 2009 with the $500 super chat says, "It was your original video of this story that got me following your channel and jumping down the rabbit hole. Hopefully your lessons will keep my marriage going. I actually had a good story of your not apologizing lesson when we were in Miami." Exactly. That's how these things go. Guys. So thank you very much, Black Lemur, with the $500 super chat. Always glad to have him in here as well. But so suffice it to say, yes, I'm doing very, very well health-wise. I've got my blood pressure is all the way back down to 121/85. And that is a far cry from what it was. Pardon me. That's a far cry from what it was. So, Jordan Royal says, "When's the wedding, by the way? You filming it with Myron?" Yeah, the wedding is going to be October 12th. It's going to be on October 12th. It's going to be an all-star. It's going to be an all-star cast. Myron is the best man. Hopefully, MLD will be there. One of the groomsmen, Minister Jap, is going to be a groomsman. Jesus Christ. Holy moly. Okay, so Jap, Fresh, BOA, I think is going to be a groomsman. I've yet to hear from him. On the ladies' side, the bridesmaids are going to be Pearl, Janelle, Allie V, obviously, or Allie D. If Tallulah can be stateside, she'll be here as well. So, all-star cast, all-star groomsmen, all-star. This is really, guys, this is going to be the very first red pill wedding for all intents and purposes, right? It's really, this is the red pill wedding. And the reason I'm doing this is to show people that, you know what? You can, as difficult as it is, you can build. Oh, never mind. You can build and cultivate a relationship, a long-term relationship of consequence with a woman who respects, loves, and adores you. You can do it. It's not easy, and it's not going to happen overnight. But I want to show guys that it absolutely can happen. I'm going to be living proof, guys. I'm going to be living proof. Other than Rolo Tomasi, Rolo and I are the only ones who are in long-term relationships who haven't changed our message, right? You notice a lot of guys, when they get into long-term relationships, their message changes. Neil Strauss, his message changed. Who else? Mystery, his message changed. All the old school pickup artists, as soon as they got into long-term relationships, their messages changed. I know I'm missing a few other ones. But yeah, their messages changed. That's how it is, right? Hafiz, his message completely changed after he got married. Holy smokes. King Life says Diaz is gonna have the water cup ready to fake cry. Yes, I'm gonna have eye drops. And I'm going to pretend to cry. Yes, absolutely. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And Devin deserves it. Devin deserves to be recognized as my wife. She's put in the work. She's done everything I've asked her to do. And, hey, it's time to get rewarded, man. It's time to get rewarded. So she has definitely done more than enough to have earned my public declaration of her as my wife. So I'm looking forward to that. Ken Rose with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that very, very much. Jay Wood with the $5 super chat. Says Black Lemur, Red Pill Mike, validate everything. Congratulations, Don, on the wedding. And bro, thank you. I keep seeing your advice in real time. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. For all the hate I get, it's just all ad homs. They don't really attack my arguments. They attack me. It is what it is. I try not to let it bother me. It is what it is. And I cannot drink enough water. I'm already, after I drink this, guys, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After I drink this, I'm at 131 ounces of water. That's 3 ounces over a gallon. I promise you I will drink at least another half gallon before the day is over. That is why I am starting to fit into shirts that I haven't been able to fit into in a few months. So in a few months, man, your boy's going to be looking good. Square Table Degenerate says, are you going with Eagles, Sixers, or Phillies colors for the wedding, bro? Nah. I don't know. I'm thinking of doing. I don't know. I'm thinking of doing like a crimson type smoker's jacket / tuxedo. Devin, I'm gonna put her in a red. Try to put her in some sort of a red wedding dress. Red pill. So the theme is gonna be red's my favorite color. Red was my favorite color before this whole red pill thing. But yeah, we're gonna. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're gonna live stream it. And it's gonna be fun. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Young Metro says, bro, I be drinking water all day. Fam, I don't know dude. Like 2 weeks ago, for some reason, 2 weeks ago, I just one day, I think it was like a Thursday, there was one day I just could not stop drinking water. And the next day, Friday, couldn't stop drinking water. Saturday, Sunday, I began to look stuff up. Extreme thirst. And I don't have any of the symptoms. I thought it might be because of my prostate, but I got my prostate stuff handled, and it hasn't affected it. So yeah, it's been great. It's been great. I feel better. Oh man, I feel a lot better. Anyway, let me quit droning on and on and on. After the show, guys, directly after the broadcast, after the live stream, you guys can join me over on Rumble to watch the Temptation Island breakdown. New episode dropped yesterday, and so I'm going to be reacting to episode 3 of Temptation Island. What the hell is that? Oh, that's this. Jesus. So be sure to stay tuned for that. I will put the link in the chat and pin it. Jay Wood with the $5 super chat says, get a Cash App. F YouTube and the 30% tax, please. Yeah, I do have a Cash App, actually. I think it's $Donovan. $Donovan Sharpe. I don't have my phone. I'm actually using this is my camera with my phone. So, yeah, Dev, if you would put the Cash App in the chat if you guys want to support via Cash App. Okay. Enough of me rambling on and on and on and on and on. Let us get to today's topic. So, like Black Lemur said in his $5 super chat, my original video, I covered this years ago, and I didn't cover this to the extent that I really, really, really wanted to. I kind of threw it together, and lo and behold, it became one of my most watched videos ever. But this was years and years ago. This was back in 3-4 years ago. And so I figured, leading up to episode 1000, I'm going to stay with the old school. Approach here. I'm going to stick with what got me here, maybe. And because, again, most of my subscribers have never seen most of my content. And I think some of these particular episodes really, really, really goes a long way in helping guys out. Really, really, really goes a long way. Pardon Pardon me. Peter B, $10 says, adding a little bit of sea salt to your water will increase your hydration. Sea salt is also loaded with minerals. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to drink salt. I mean, like, I've heard the benefits of that, but no, I can't get thirsty for salt water. So, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll drink 1 glass of salt water. Who knows? Who knows? Mike Steele says, I add lemon juice to my water. I've heard about that. I heard that's how Randy Jackson lost a bunch of weight, is with lemon water. What, Randy Jackson? All right, got you, Randy. Appreciate that. Okay, so at any rate, let's go ahead and get this party started. So this article was published back in January of 2013. So this is 10 years ago that this article was posted. 2013. This was right at the genesis of the heyday of Return of Kings. So just keep that in mind. So the article is by Karen Cross, and it starts, laughing and dancing with my fiancé at our engagement party. I thought I might actually burst with happiness. Surrounded by our family and friends, I looked at Matthew and felt certain I had met the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Quite simply, he was my soulmate. We were desperately in love and had our future together mapped out. She continues, first, we would save to buy our own home. Then would come a romantic wedding ceremony and children would follow. It all seemed so simple to my naive 19-year-old self. I smugly told myself, the girl who had it all. So why, 20 years later, do I find myself single, childless, and tormented by the fact that I have thrown away the only true chance of happiness I ever had? Wow. Wow, that's incredibly introspective for a woman. Incredibly introspective for a woman. She continues, 8 years after that wonderful engagement party in 1989, I walked away from dear, devoted, loyal Matthew, convinced that somewhere out there a better, more exciting, more fulfilling life awaited me. Only there wasn't. So Karen has made the initial mistake that a lot of women make, which is mistaking stability for boredom. A lot of women are in stable relationships because they're free of drama, there's no cheating, everything runs smoothly. I'm sure there's a hiccup here or there, but by and large, things are stable. Unfortunately, what feminism has done to women, it has caused the female hindbrain to think that stability is boredom. They're in stable relationships and they sabotage them because they think they're bored. Jesus, I love water. Now, she continues, I am 42 and have all the trappings of success. A high-flying career, financial security, and a home in the heart of London's trendy Notting Hill. But I don't have the one thing I crave more than anything, a loving husband and family. You see, she continues, I never did find another man who offered everything Matthew did, who understood me and loved me like he did. Someone who is my best friend as well as my lover. Today, seeing friends with their children around them tortures me, as I know I am unlikely to ever have a family of my own. Now, keep in mind, this is in 2013. She's 42. Well, it's 2023 now, so the bitch is 52. Now, maybe she does have a children and family. I'll never know. But just like she said, it is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. I think about the times Matthew and I talk, she continues, about having children, even discussing the names we would choose. Oh, I've been there before. I cannot believe I turned my back on so much happiness. Instead, here I am, back on the singles market looking for the very thing I discarded with barely a backward glance all those years ago. Black Labor 2009 says, I wonder if this woman got lucky between then and now. You know what, Devin? Look her up for me if you would. That'd be very, very interesting. That'd be very, very interesting. Dude, with a $500 super chat, Black Lemur, I'll look up whatever you want. By the way, Lemur, do me a favor, Lemur, shoot me an email, tsr@donovansharpe.com. I'm just going to gift you a VIP CME ticket. You've super chatted thousands of dollars over the years, and I would be remiss if I actually charged you for a goddamn ticket. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to charge you for a ticket. So hit me up, tsr@donovansharpe.com. If you're not comfortable giving me your particulars, I recognize you. I'll see who you are. Don't even sweat it. But you, my friend, you're in there, and I appreciate your support over the years, man. I really, really do. I know I can't have Matthew back, she continues, and it hurts when I hear snippets of information about his life and how content he is. 15 years after I ended our relationship, he is happily married. So it says here in the picture, Karen met Matthew when they were at school and started dating when she was 17. At this time of year, so many people will be assessing their lives and relationships, wondering if the grass is greener on the other side. Many, she says, will mistake contentment for boredom, forgetting to cherish the good things they have. Look at that. Look at this. Guys, I've been talking about this for years. Women confusing stability for boredom. And here she says, many will mistake contentment for boredom. This is incredibly wise for this woman to put this out there. Unfortunately, women aren't going to listen to it. They're just not going to. She continues, I would urge those who are considering walking away from such riches to think again. Man, this woman's in pain. She continues, how different would things be for me now if I'd only listened to Matthew when he pleaded with me not to leave him in 1997. Tears pouring down his face. I was crying too. She continued, she says, and it tortured me to watch the heart of the man I loved breaking in front of me, but I was resolute. I was resolute. One day, she continues, I might look back and realize I've made the biggest mistake of my life, I told him, as we clung to each other desperately. How prophetic those words have proven to be. I will always be here for you, Matthew promised, and I arrogantly thought that somehow I could put him on ice and return to him. So Karen is showing us another moment of self-awareness. And what happens next, guys, as we move through this article, is the typical dating arc of a 40-something woman who wasted her youth on the cheap thrills of the single life only to regret it later. Right? Now, let's get into what Karen learned from the biggest mistake of her life. So Karen tells Matthew that she might look back and realize that she's made the biggest mistake of her life. She didn't believe this at the time, guys. She didn't. She just told him this to make him feel better. Guys, girls do this all the time. They say things like, I know I'm making a huge mistake, or I wish I knew what was wrong with me. As if to say she knows she's making the wrong decision, but something in her is pushing her to make this decision. They also like to say things like, I'll always love you. But they do this to keep men in their orbit until they've gotten their fill of random. Which leads to that profound statement where she thought she could put him on ice and expected him to be there when she was ready to settle down again. Ladies, if you're watching, ladies, if you're watching, you need to heed this woman's warnings. The guys you think will stick around will become the men who eventually ignore you. They'll completely ignore your feeler texts or DMs on social media when you text them, hey, stranger, long time. These men are not going to want you 20 years, 30 pounds, 40 X's, and 50-something hookups later. The men modern women want aren't messing with women who are 2 decades past the wall with 3 kids and at least 2 abortions. The men who will want you, unfortunately, won't be the men you actually want. And this is the situation Karen Cross finds herself in. I'm sure she's got plenty of options, right? I mean, guys are thirsty. But again, they're not the options she actually wants. She wants a man of value, gentlemen, as all women do. She wants a man in demand, a man with options. And men who are willing to wife up overweight, sallow-skinned former party girls with 4 kids, 3 baby daddies, and too much entitlement are not the men these women will want. You cannot put men with great potential on ice and expect them to still be there when you're ready to settle down. Matthew had just started law enforcement academy when Karen dumped him. But by now, he's probably a detective. He's probably making a lot more money, and he'll probably have a nice pension when he retires. He didn't wait for Karen, nor should he have. Now, fast forwarding through the part about how they met, we're going to come to the part of the story where the housing market crashed was more or less really the beginning of the end. Let me scroll down and continue there. Let's see here. I apologize. We do it live, guys. Hang on a second. Summer 69, blah, 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 blah. There it is. Okay. Struggling, she continues, should have brought us closer together. And at first it did. But as time went on, and my magazine career and salary advanced, I started to resent Matthew as he drifted from one dead-end job to another. I still love him, she says. I still loved him, she says. But I began to feel embarrassed by his blue-collar jobs, annoyed that, despite his intelligence, he didn't have a career. Then he brought a lurid blue and pink Volkswagen Beetle. Why couldn't he drive a normal car? Things that now seem incredibly insignificant begin to niggle. Oh boy. I began to wish he was more sophisticated and earned more. I felt envious of friends with better off partners who were able to support them as they started their families. So, Matthew and Karen were probably around the same age, right? Like in the picture, she said that they were 17 when they started dating, so I assume they're the same age, right? So Matthew hadn't hit his stride in terms of his earning potential. Now, we all know that typically we don't start making any real money until we hit our mid-30s. Matthew wasn't making any real money yet, and Karen's hypergamy started to nag at her. This is what happens. She continues, I stopped seeing Matthew as my equal, she says. I stopped seeing all of the qualities that had made me fall in love with him. Sorry about that. His fierce intelligence, our shared sense of humor, his determination not to follow the crowd. I saw someone who was holding me back. Now let me pause right here. Matthew's first problem is that Karen saw him as an equal, which Karen thought was a good thing. But we all know that it's not. Gentlemen, no matter how many times feminism tells women that they can love a man they see as their equal, guys, women are simply incapable of doing this. It is impossible, gentlemen, for a man to truly love a woman who is not superior to her in just about every way. Can't be done. A woman will not respect a man, nor can she love a man that she is sexually involved with whose perceived value is equal or less than hers. She can't do it, nor should she be forced to. So Matthew is already behind the 8 ball, which points out another immutable truth, which is that the best relationships, the relationships where the man is superior to the woman, his value is higher than hers, are relationships where the man is at least 8 years older than a woman. Typically. Older men have themselves together. We make more money, we're further along in our careers, we're wiser, we're just more mature. Think of it this way. An attractive 22-year-old girl, she might have some fun with the 24-year-old guy, but she's not taking him seriously as a long-term partner. No, man, she's thinking about locking down the 36-year-old she's sleeping with. The guy who drives an Audi, owns a home, and has been seasoned by all the traveling he's done. The 24-year-old who's fun, who drives a Honda Accord and lives with 3 roommates and works at the mall and door dashes on the side, that's not going to move the needle in terms of satisfying her hypergamy. Now, Matthew was this guy, but unfortunately for Karen, she didn't realize that this relationship was over really before it began. Now, Matthew didn't either. But as we all know, when it comes to breakups, it is the women that appear to be winning early, right? All the hookups, all the dates, all these men she's entertaining. But if a man does the right thing after a breakup, which is live in the gym, continue to improve yourself, increase your value, start a side hustle that could eventually become your own business, he wins in the end every single time. And I'm living proof. When Amy finally left me for Ben, I was crushed. I loved her. But she was happily married and appeared to have her happily ever after. But I moved to Vegas, where I essentially got my black belt in women, started my second successful business, and now I'm just a few short years away from being able to retire financially, and my life is great. Amy, however, got Ben killed by the man she would eventually leave him for and have another daughter with. So while I'm living this life, Amy has to live with the fact that the father of her second daughter killed the father of her first. You cannot make this stuff up. Darcy, my ex-wife, married a man who has 5 lazy kids and they still live with them. She's miserable as hell. How do I know? She texts me every week about how horrible her life is. She even called me up over the weekend. So long as we do, and she refers to me as her favorite ex. Of course I am. I'm Donovan fucking Sharpe. So long as we do what we need to do, gentlemen, and not wallow in self-pity. Right now, don't get me wrong. We do need to take a day, maybe 2, to grieve, right? But after that, grieve in the gym, guys. Grieve in the gym. Because if you don't get off your ass and move on, you are going to stagnate, and that is not going to be pretty. That is not going to be pretty. Pardon me. Let's continue. Hang on a second. There we are. Sorry about that. Apologies for that. She continues. The frequency of intimacy had dwindled and nights out together were rare. I stopped appreciating the little things he did, like leaving romantic notes on the pillow or scouring secondhand bookshops for novels he knew I'd love. He was my best friend, yet I totally took him for granted. After festering for weeks about his shortcomings, I told Matthew I was leaving. We spent hours talking and crying as he tried to convince me to stay, but I was adamant. So now we come to what almost always happens in these situations when a woman actually tells a man she's leaving the relationship, and that is infidelity. Well, how do you know she cheated, Donovan? Easy. The way modern women generally operate in relationships is that they won't leave a relationship until they've started another one first. This is the standard operating procedure for most modern women. And with that said, here are 2, count them 2, ironclad immutable truths about women here in 2023. Pay attention, boys. Number 1, a modern Western woman will rarely have a strength to actually leave a man if she doesn't already have one waiting in the wings. Guys, this is why Karen was adamant when she broke up with Matthew. She'd already started another relationship, and that is what made her resolve to leave him unbreakable. And guys, I've been in this situation many times. I'd be dating a girl and we break up, and then I try to get her back, and sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't. And the sometime that it worked, I knew she wasn't seeing anybody, or I was pretty sure she wasn't seeing anybody else. But the times that it didn't work, there was always another dude involved. Never fails. Second thing, when a woman actually tells you she's leaving, or that she's breaking up with you. She's already been hooking up with the dude she's leaving you for. Guys, a woman will break up with you in her mind months before she actually does it. I never hear of a woman dumping a guy and not having a branch to swing to. This is how they operate, guys. This is how they operate. And Ms. Cross here is no different. She broke up with Matthew months before she actually told him she wanted out. This means that she was absolutely 341% seeing another man. Again, that's why. That's exactly why. Women are incapable of doing anything without some sort of support system or safety net. Modern women don't have the self-resolve or the self-motivation to do these things. This includes breaking up with their boyfriends and husbands. And what do we know? And what is the system of choice of females in the Western world? Well, that guy, the guy doing the thrusting, that guy gives her the strength to leave, despite the fact that her man, who she loves, is pleading with her to stay. Ay, 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 ay. Sorry about that. Let us continue the article. Matthew and I remain close, she says, even telling each other about new relationships. But though I dumped him, I never felt the women he met were good enough. I can see now I was acting out of jealousy. I clearly wanted to keep him for myself. So Karen puts Matthew in the friend zone. She puts him in the friend zone, but is still arrogant and selfish enough to want him back after she's gotten her fill of. This is how selfish modern women are, guys. They want to hop from bed to bed, but expect you not to. Right? They want you to wait around for them while they get passed around. Right? Just like the poorly behaved bachelorette, Hannah Brown. You guys remember her? You guys remember her? This hoe wrapped her legs around every contestant at least a half a dozen times each. Made sure she made out with every dude on every episode. And when she made out, she is full on straddling these guys in a skirt, making out with these dudes. Right? On every episode. And during fantasy week, she at least 3 dudes. But she expected these guys to remain chaste for 6 months before they came to the show. If she found out that a contestant was involved with another girl before they came onto the show, she lost her mind and sent him home. Typical woman. She continues. Our closeness, however, was called to a halt when he met his first serious girlfriend after me, Sarah. One night, shortly after his 34th birthday, I phoned to ask his advice about something. Matthew was unusually abrupt and asked me not to call him again. Please don't send me birthday cards or Christmas cards anymore either. Sarah opened your card last week and was really upset. I have to put her feelings first. I hated, she continues, the fact that Matthew was suddenly putting another woman before me. How dare she come between us? Over the next few weeks, I'm ashamed to say, I vented my spleen at both of them in a series of heated phone calls. I was completely irrational, she says. I didn't want Matthew, I didn't want Matthew back, but felt upstaged by Sarah. Unsurprisingly, after one particularly nasty argument, Matthew put down the phone and refused to take any more of my calls. I didn't realize it at the time, but I would never speak to him again. Oh, wow. So, Miss Cross. goes from ex-girlfriend to stalker by calling Matthew's house to air out Matthew and his girlfriend. Then she says she didn't want Matthew back, but she somehow felt upstaged by Sarah? Huh? Of course you were upstaged by her, Karen. She's his girlfriend. And you're just another 304 who messed up a potentially great relationship, who thinks it's her birthright to keep the attention of the men she left to live the single life with a vengeance. Which means she... a lot of other dudes. And again, it is absolutely unbelievable that even though she didn't want him back, she still did her level best to destroy his relationship with another woman. Guys, this is how grimy bitches are. They don't want you, but they don't want anyone else to have you. Right? Like the black women who make it clear they don't want guys like us, but then they go absolutely mental when we get with a white girl. Selfish to the core, man. Selfish to the core. Then Matthew finally realizes what's going on, and he probably said to himself, you know what? Enough of this bullshit. Enough of this. I've had enough. Not doing this no more. This woman broke my heart in order to, with anything with a Y chromosome and a smile, rubbing in my face, and she's got the gall to call me up and air me out? Fuck out of here with that. Hung up the phone and never talked to her again. Don DeMarco to Matthew for standing his ground. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Only in the West. Only in the West. Shortly afterwards, she continues, I met Richard. It was a whirlwind romance, and within a year we were engaged in buying an idyllic farmhouse in the Norfolk countryside while I continued my journalistic career commuting to London. He was a successful senior, as we toured the country, I thought I had finally found the excitement that I loved and craved. But Matthew was never far from my thoughts, and Richard complained that I often brought him into conversations, even comparing both of them both. They were so different. Although outwardly romantic, Richard was repeatedly unfaithful, and I never felt secure enough to start a family with him. Eventually, after 3.5 years together, he walked out, having admitted his latest paramour was pregnant by him. So, Karen gets with Richard the bad boy. Gets with Richard the bad boy. Successful singer, touring the country, excitement and adventure. And surprise, surprise, her rock star boyfriend was a cheater. And surprise, surprise, she stayed with him. Gentlemen, if this doesn't show you that the worse you treat women today, the better they'll treat you and vice versa, nothing will. Think about what just happened here. This woman had a man who was devoted to her, wanted to marry her, and start a family. And what does she do to show her appreciation? She leaves him. Then she gets with a man who repeatedly cheats on her. And what does she do to punish him? She stays with him for 3.5 years. Then in the end, he left her, not the other way around. She didn't leave him. He left her. He goes off and impregnates another woman, so he left Karen. Guys, this is how messed up today's women are, man. The better you treat them, the worse they treat you. It is crazy backwards, guys. But this is what feminism's created. It's created multiple generations of women who punish good treatment and reward bad treatment. Now, in the end, Matthew ended up marrying another woman and starting a family. And Karen is still single, alone, and childless, and hasn't talked to Matthew in, 20 years now. Guys, you'd be surprised at how many of these stories are on the internet. There are countless articles, blog posts, and videos of women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s warning these girls not to fall victim to the false promise of locking down a traditionally masculine man who has himself together after being by these same men in their 20s who will reject them only a few short years later. There are more and more and more of these stories floating around these days, guys. Hell, even the creator of Sex and the City, Candace Bushnell, she said that she regrets not settling down and having children. That article probably still making the rounds. However, unfortunately for women, for every article like this that warns women about the perils of the single party life for girls, there are 100 articles and videos that glorify it. For every video of a 40-something telling girls to marry young and have families, there are 50 articles that talk about the joys of one-night stands and having a roster of 7 men who will come and blow your back out in 2 texts or less. This, gentlemen, is why men are walking away. And I can't say I blame them. I really don't. I really don't. All right, let's check these super chats here. I've got a few. That was weird. Nope, that's not it. Oh, there we are. There it is. Okay, got it. We're good. Okay. All right. All right, let's read these super chats here. All right. Let's see. Already did the sea salt one. I appreciate that. Ah, there it is. Technomage B5. Technomage B5 with the $10 super chat. As it finally played the sound. Says it's a contradiction. If he waits for her, she won't want him, thinking he's weak. If he moves on, she wants him back but can't have him. Seeing this play out so often. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. The only reason why Karen still wants Matthew is because, well, one of the reasons is because she can't have him, right? That's part of the lore. He's been pre-selected many times over. Women clearly still want him and date him and want to have sex with him. But he is now 42 or 52. Hell, he probably has grandkids by now. 20 years ago? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, he's now married with kids and she's single and alone. But had she stayed, see, when she made her mind up that she was leaving, the relationship was over no matter what. Because let's just say for the sake of argument that that she decides to stay. She would have left him anyway. She would have started cheating on him and it just would have been all bad. Would have been all bad. I thought I had another one. Guess I was wrong on that one. Pardon me. Zombie Queen says, congratulations, Donovan, on your big day. Huge fan of yours. Love your videos. Finally got the chance to see you live. Working my way to become the woman my man wants me to be. Keep up the good work. Very good. I appreciate that very much. Hopefully you're not a zombie. That would be a little complicated. But, hey, if you're a zombie, then you could kill him, and then you guys could be together, right? Undead. I tried to make a joke. It fell a little flat. JJ says, you would think there would be a massive change for the younger generation from countless of these types of articles / regrets, but it always seems to get worse. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. JBP says, she deserves better, more money, and cute cats, wine, and antidepressants. Exactly right. Exactly right. Vast Ice Gaming says, this is the first Donovan video I ever saw back in 2020. Man, a lot of people giving me props for this video having changed their life. Good. Ice Dragon Kid likes this. Yeah, Manosphere highlights daily. It's the best way to get away with. It's funny and I don't have to swear. So, Aaron Scott says, man, it's like listening to my own life. Ex left me in her 20s. What she didn't tell me was she was pregnant. She assumed it was the other guys, I guess. Well, guess who decided to later on? Whoa! Wow! Holy fucking shit. Damn. That's some bullshit, man. Glad you got out of that. Josie Rodriguez says, learn game, hold frame, and get your passport. Damn. Yo, that's some crazy shit, dude. Wow. Wow. Greg Prince says, we reap what we sow. More than we sow, later than we sow. Women have the world by the balls for the first half of their life. Then the repercussions of their choices present themselves. Yep. Bad decisions come with long regret, man. King Life with the $10 super chat Says, always great to see a breakdown. Very good. Young Metro asks a very good question. He says, why do women think there's always someone out there who's meant just for you? It's because it's what television and media tells them. There's somebody for everybody. No, there's not. There is not somebody for everybody. There are more women than men on the planet. So there is not somebody for everybody. It's just not, no. There are men that are meant for more than one woman, but there are never any women that are meant for more than one man. That's just how it works. And because there are always more women that are compatible with men, a lot of women are going to be left out in the cold. Oh my God, that is good. Justy wants to know, when is my next call-in show, Big D? I'm not 100% sure. My guess is that it'll probably happen pretty soon. Again, guys, do not forget, directly following the broadcast, I'll be continuing my Temptation Island breakdown. Episode 3 dropped yesterday, so I will be reacting to it today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the link Okay, very good. There we go. Oops, pin the message. Got it. So I have just pinned the Rumble link in the chat. After, the end credits and everything are done, I'm going to say goodbye to every audience except for Sharpe Stream and Rumble. So if you want to see and hear what we see and hear, click that link and come on over. That is going to do it for this, the 982nd edition of TSR Live. My thanks to all of my super chatters, especially Technomage B5, King Life, and Black Lemur 2009 with that $500 super chat. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.